Hi everyone, Rich Crescenti here with another in our series of videos making music with Melodyne. And today we're going to be using Melodyne to take a mono guitar track and stereoize it, or really more accurately, turn it into a fake double-tracked guitar. Now there are multiple ways to do this and lots of other aftermarket processors that can do this as well, and I use them and they're great. But sometimes I like using Melodyne for this because it gives us some more individual control over the facets that I want to adjust, and because much of what we're adjusting really affects the sort of shape and the timing of these notes, it becomes much more akin to double tracking rather than just fake stereo widening. Now, almost all the techniques we're doing today can be done inside Melodyne Assistant and Higher. However, at the end we are going to be using the sound editor, which requires Melodyne Studio. But a quick note on that. You'll see right here that this is a polyphonic track. I have done polyphonic today, which is not available in Assistant. It's only available in Editor, and that is because this particular guitar track has lots of overhang on the individual notes. So in this case, it did not work well with monophonic, but these techniques can be used in Assistant and Higher. All right, so let's jump in and take a look. This is Wasted Love by Atlas Engine out of Los Angeles. Here it is. Okay, very nice, very ambient track. Let's just solo up this guitar and listen to it. And as you can see right here, I've taken the original guitar track and I have duplicated it and just panned it hard left and right. There are no differences, so it's just going to play back like a mono guitar track. Here it is. Okay, so this is really nice, and I would like to clear some space out of the middle for the vocal and still have this kind of float around everything else. So there's a few things that I can do here, and the first have to deal with making minor pitch and timing variations. So I'm just going to hit Command A to select all these notes, and if you go over here to your Edit menu, you will see now that we have Add Random Deviations, and we've got random deviations for pitch and for timing, right? I'm going to be looking for subtle changes here. It does not take a lot to make it sound like a separate track. So first, let's go to Add Random Deviations to pitch and do subtle. And then let's go back to our edit and choose Add Random Variations and go to Timing and choose Subtle. And listen to this now. That's a really nice kind of double track stereo spread on there. Here's the original again. I'll turn it on and off. That's great. Just those two factors right there just gave it a really nice stereo spread. Okay, so now what I'm looking to do is just find some other subtle ways to separate these tracks and just make them a little bit different, right? So I can also come over here to my drift tool, for example, and just take all of this and just pull this down a little bit as it plays. I'm going to listen. You can always see what I've changed right up in here. I brought this down to just 3% drift. Let's undo that and see if it makes a big difference. That's pretty subtle. All right, but we got some other tools that we can use right here. For example, we've got the formant tool, right? So what I can do is now take the formant of this other track and pitch it up or down a little bit and see how that changes. Let's listen to this one. Even a small change there makes a difference. Let's listen and undo that and turn it on and off again. I like that. That is also a subtle difference, but it just gives it even a little bit more spread. Now, one of the tools that I like to use when I do this one right over here is actually our attack speed tool. That's this one right here. And this changes how quickly any one of these notes will get to its peak amplitude. And as you do that, it redraws that waveform a little bit, right? So we're getting actually a different performance. This is another one where a little goes a long way, but some subtlety will change this performance a little bit. Let's give it a listen. As you can see, another subtle difference right here. I only drag this down 12%. As I undo this and redo it, you'll see that change right here. Let's give this a listen where I turn that one change on and off. I like that. That's given us a really nice spread right there, right? And those are all the basic tools. But from there, we can even push those changes a little further by opening up our sound editor right here, right? And what the sound editor allows us to do is change a few other facets that we couldn't otherwise. For example, I can take this dynamics, right? This is different than the overall dynamics. This is the dynamics within each note. So I can make each one of those notes hold on a little longer before it dies away or die away a little more quickly. This is the one in the right ear, so I want it to maybe die away a little more quickly. So I'm going to move this slider to the right. I can use Option for fine control. Let's see how this changes it. That's nice. By making the right side die away a little sooner, it almost feels like the reverb is pulling a little bit to the left right there, which gives another decorrelation, a nice way of like giving some depth and change between those two sides. We've also got down here, I've got brightness. I've got this feature right here, which is the contour, which is basically you can take the fingerprint of this particular sound, this shape of this, and accentuate its changes or reel them in and make it a little closer. Let's check some of those out right there. This one on the right is our kind of drier one, so I'm going to make it a little more brilliant, right? The note die away a little sooner, so I want it a little bit brighter. Let's give this a listen. That's nice. I like that one a lot. Let's do this right here. I'm going to take this sort of contour and move it to really accentuate what is unique about this particular track. This is nice. Because of all these changes we've made, there's this constant modulation feeling, this feeling of this thing being alive and moving around in the background, right? Let's just go back and compare what we did originally. Here's our original guitar and see what we've done so far. I like that a lot. Let's hear this in context, and I'll do the same change with it bypassed and then turn it on. That's really cool. I like the way that that floats. It feels alive. It has changes. It moves a lot right there. And it clears way for the stuff that's in the center. The vocal, the bass, the kick, and the snare. So I don't have another guitar track in this one. And what I've done now is taken this and then made it into a double-tracked guitar with some modulation on there as well. You can use one of these tools or any of these tools. If you want to push it even further, you can then take a reverb that is panned to the opposite size, which is these two right here, make it even a little bit wider. That's great. I love what we've done right here, right? We have taken this mono guitar that had some nice ambient feel to it and really fleshed it out and made it fill out the track, gave it some character, gave it some movement. So be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Hope you enjoyed this today. Thanks.